Hey.
Hi.
What's up, everybody?
Hi, Dustin.
How's it going?
It's going.
Good.
Sweet. There's a lot of people hanging out there.
Yeah, there is.
Nice.
It's a party.
Yeah.
How are you, Dustin?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a crazy morning at the office here. So for those of you who don't know, I work in facial and oral and cosmetic surgery is my regular day job. I've never left my day job while doing the show. So that's a good thing to know about the paranormal. Don't quit your day job for it. I made it to TV level, and I worked internationally, and I traveled for 10 years doing that stuff, but I always had a good background in education and stuff to fall back on. So this is what I do by day. And it's been crazy because the doctor called me this morning. He was sick and he has kidney stones, so I met him here this morning and started an IV on him, get him all set up. I just sent him out for x-rays. And so yeah, it's been a weird day so far.
You're an oral surgeon and you helped him with kidney stones?
I'm an anesthesia tech, and I've had about 23 kidney stones myself. So,
Ow.
so I know a little bit about that, unfortunately, from both sides, you know?
How much cheese are you drinking? That hurts. Alright, guys.
So am I the first person you guys are talking to today, or what's the deal?
We're about we talked to 4 other people.
Yeah?
Tell them who you talked
Who'd you
to.
talk to so far?
Scott Porter.
Oh, nice. Porter's good dude.
Elizabeth Saint.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. She's like really smart. She makes my head hurt when I talk to her for long periods of time. But
Yeah.
Dalen Spratt.
okay,
of
no.
Ghost Brothers.
Ghost Brothers fame.
James Ananito.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've done a bunch of conventions with him over the years.
Jeff Ballinger.
You ever talk to Belanger?
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Clown, he's the worst.
You love
Best
them.
friends up here, so I think we have a beer night coming up next week together.
Then you can talk about us.
Then you could talk about us, yeah?
Drink one for us.
Indeed. So what's up? What can I do for you?
Tell them all about the paranormal, Dustin.
That's what we're here to learn about today?
Don't know.
All right.
All the guys have been answering this one question, boxers or briefs?
Boxers today, sometimes none on Friday if I feel free. You gotta reward yourself a little bit in this life. Sometimes that's all you get.
I know it has nothing to do with the paranormal, but we thought we'd break the ice.
Yeah, it's a nice one. I was at a convention once with William Shatner, you know, from Star Trek with him, and somebody asked him that, and he looked down, and he said, "Depends." It's like, no, literally, at my age, it depends on garments. Poor old fella, just leaking in his pants. God bless him.
Well, that's what Callie needs if she ever sees Nick Groff.
Oh, like, he just climbed the mountain this weekend. He went and did Mount Washington on Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah, with our friend Mike Couch, and Mike only has one leg. His other leg was amputated, and with Nick helping and coaching him, they climbed Mount Washington, which is the highest peak up here in New England. So
Wow.
really cool.
for them.
Belanger and I did that mountain a couple of times. It's a beast, but Nick is a great guy, very inspirational, nice dude.
Well, how about you guys introduce yourself to Dustin?
Yes, let's go around the room first. You in the corner sipping your soda over there.
That
Yes,
would be you, Callie.
I'm Callie.
Hi, Callie.
I'm Erica. I'm Morgan.
You're who?
Morgan.
Morgan's up top.
I'm Heavenly. I'm Lana.
Hello, man.
And
Down the front.
down.
Down in front. I'm Kiana.
Yana?
James.
Yeah?
I'm Lizzie.
Hello, Lizzie.
And
out there?
Oh, I broke
No, wait, you froze up.
It
Is
froze.
everybody correct?
And up top, who are you?
I said my name.
Yeah, but did he hear you?
I didn't hear you say it again.
I'm
What is it?
Autumn.
Autumn. Very well, Autumn. Excellent. All right, well, what questions do you guys have? What can I do for you?
How do you think TVs affect the paranormal field?
It's nice. It's been a little bit of a double-edged sword for sure. You know, prior to Ghost Hunters, I mean, you know, growing up, there was a couple of shows you could see once in a while, that were like recreation shows, mostly around, you know, the fall and the Halloween time. You might see one or two, but there wasn't a lot out there, you know. And I used to love the couple of things I could see, but growing up, there was never much really to learn about. And then I kind of felt that if you had experiences, it was awkward to talk about it. Like, my first experience was seeing, you know, today what we would call a shadow figure. And at the time, you know, I was just around 9 or 10 years old. I didn't even tell my parents about it because it was so weird and I didn't want them to think I was crazy. So I think the shows were good because it made it easy for people to come forward and say, listen, this happened to me, and like I've had this happen. So that was nice. The bad side of it is everybody wants a demon. Everybody just like really plays up the negative people all the time. And I don't know why that is. I think it's just something in our nature. Prior to my career in healthcare, I worked for CBS and Fox News for many years. I was a cameraman out in the field and an editor. And it's just a lot of the negative stuff is all that ever gets in the news. And it's kind of the same way with paranormal. You know, every show has to have a demon, everybody has to be possessed, and honestly, it's just a lot of BS. It's like, can that stuff happen? Sure. Does it usually happen? No. So there's a lot more out there that I think people just glaze over because they want like the craziest experience that happens. And that doesn't happen most of the time. So I think the shows are good because it made it easier for people to talk about it, but it's also bad because it just kind of glorifies the negative aspect of it, which is a very small part of it.
Do you guys all know what show Dustin was on?
Ooh, I know.
You already
I know.
said it.
Yeah, I do.
You all know?
Yeah.
Well, what is it then?
Ghost
Yes.
So I was back and forth on Ghost Hunters for the better part of their 10-year run. I was with them pretty solid for the first, actually I came in season 2, I was pretty solid with them for like the first 2 or 3 years.
I can't hear you.
But then I settled down because I wanted to get married and everything, so I wasn't really ready to commit to the show. Then I ended up doing the international show for 2 years overseas, ended up going to 27 countries doing this stuff. And then I came back and I was on every episode of their last 2 seasons that they had that just wrapped up about 1.5 years ago. And then I've also done one episode of Destination Truth with my buddy Josh Gates.
Ooh.
It's a good show.
Wow, that is a good show.
Yeah? So a little bit of here, there, and everywhere.
Ask if he's going to be on Ghost Nation with Jason.
No, somehow it appears that my invite must have got lost in the mail for Ghost Nation.
Oh, he heard you.
I thought, I'm sorry.
He heard you.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, I just saw Steve recently too, because, you know, we get along really well, we do a lot of events together and everything. It's just, you know, different network, different show, different concept, but it's all good. I'm not hard to reach if they want to find me. I was offered 3 different shows last fall to do that we're filming this year, but my kind of test is if I wouldn't watch it, I don't want to be on it. And all the shows they offered me are not shows I'd really want to watch. More things that are kind of just chasing the negative and just kind of weak concepts, you know.
Good for
So
you.
until you let me do something the way I want to do it, I'm not
That's how I
really in a
feel,
rush
too.
to do something else.
Not good for you.
Good for you. I applaud you.
Hooray!
Yeah, there's a lot of shows I wouldn't want to be on if I was.
Now, do you want to see my kidneys down?
Ask questions, girls.
What's your most memorable experience?
Most memorable here in the States, St. Augustine Lighthouse down in Florida. That was the first time I had ever witnessed a full body apparition. We were, I saw the shadow figure when I was a kid, and then I started going out and check out this stuff with my friends on my own. But it wasn't until I was with Ghost Hunters down in Florida that we actually saw an apparition again. And this was a woman that was standing, she was in the top level of the lighthouse, and what's nice about the lighthouse is you just had that one door in and out. out. So you put a camera on that, you know nobody else is in there messing around. And we had video evidence of shadow figure activity in there. And I was just a couple of steps down from the top. And I was with Brian at the time, was another investigator on the show, and we both saw this woman walking around up there. We heard this echoing voice asking for help. And when we saw her, we requested her to come lower and come closer to us. And she turned into this like ball of light. And she went low into one level low, and then went right out the side of the lighthouse. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I've been there several times. Again, I've never seen her there, but we do get a lot of EVPs down there, a lot of recordings of voices in heavy Spanish dialect, which ties in with the original founding of the area. So that's kind of cool. And then overseas, I did a place called the Clark Air Force Base, which is out in the Philippines, and that was a hospital used by the American soldiers during the Vietnam War. And that's the only place that I've ever been where we've actually captured everything that we were supposed to. They always give us like this long laundry list, like, oh, you're going to have, you know, Satan's going to show up at 2 o'clock and he's in the basement, like there's a demon in the attic, all this crap, and then nothing ever happens. But the Clark Air Force Base, they said that they heard, you know, soldiers crying out in English, looking for help. They saw an apparition, this white misty apparition down in the basement level, and everything that they told us happened. We actually witnessed and recorded while we were there. So over in the Philippines, that's been my favorite place overseas out of all the countries I've been to. And then St. Augustine here in America.
Awesome.
What do you really think of Brian?
Paranormal was probably made out to look worse than he needed it to be. But you have to understand it was an early show and an early concept, so I think they kind of took liberties to make him look bad. And to build up the relationship between him and Jay, who was the head guy on the show. They didn't get along very well, so they really played that up a lot, I think, for ratings. But Brian definitely had his issues, but I never thought he was a bad person, personally.
Thank you.
It's weird, like you travel on these shows, you get to know people, you're living with them, like, you know, for months at a time. When I did GHI, we were over there 6 to 8 weeks at a time, so it was a little bit crazy, you know. They get to be like family, and that means they also get on your nerves sometimes. I would just go out for walks by myself a lot, which is not what you should do in strange countries in the middle of the night, but it was comfortable, and it's the only way I could really relax. But yeah, it was cool. It's just, you know, working with people is working with people, but traveling with them is a whole different thing.
Questions, guys?
At what age did you start investigating?
I was 15, because one of my buddies was a little bit older, so he got his license at 16, so we started going out and looking into places. So I always have to do the right thing and say, don't go to places that are abandoned, or places that you're not welcomed, or that you're not asked to go. But when I was a kid, nobody really told me anything about this stuff, so I didn't really know. We had this place called Lad School, which was 5 big buildings in Exeter, Rhode Island, and it used to be a school for, you know, people with mental difficulties and mental challenges, and it was closed down due to overpopulation. And that place, crazy activity. There were shadow figures, there were voices, and we used to go there all the time. But the last time I went there, it was surrounded by woods, so I would park on the outside of the woods and go in there. A lot of people drive in the main road, but there's only one road in and out. And so what happened that night, the local people that lived in the neighborhood called the police because of all the cars that were there. So the police just had to come and block that one road. And they arrested, I think, 17 or 18 kids for trespassing that night. But I was okay because I parked on the other side of the woods, so I just ran out that way. But again, I can't tell you to go do that type of stuff. I have to tell you not to do that stuff, but that's how I learned and that's how I got started.
Do you have any good advice for the kids? Do you have any good
What the heck
advice?
is that?
I don't know what that was.
That's
No.
your voice.
That was you.
Oh, good for me.
Do you have any good advice for the kids, Dustin?
Yeah, I just think it's very important to just really keep like a grounded mindset about the whole thing. You know, like, yeah, this stuff really does happen, but if you go out and you investigate it and you always look for the negative, you're going to eventually find it, but I really think that that's not what we should be looking for. You know, I feel like this life, as in the afterlife, like there's good and
I
bad,
was there last year.
and depending, you know, like it's just like going fishing. Like whatever you bait your hook to try to catch is what you're going to catch. So people will say, oh, don't use Ouija boards. Ouija boards are for evil. And I'm like, well, they're no more evil, I think, than you sitting there talking to your flashlight, or you sitting there asking EVP questions. You're just trying to connect and contact to the other side, but I think it's your intention. And I think if you go out there with good intentions, you attract, good like-minded things. Just like in this life, your circle of friends are similar to who you are. We don't usually attract people that are opposite, and hang around with them. So I think if you go in there with a good mindset and you're looking for a good positive interaction, that's probably what you get. I was doing an event in Michigan, and I was using one of the ghost box type things, and I was getting all these like funny, like weird, quirky little spirits, and like making jokes and like answering questions in funny ways. And we're all done at the end of the night. The guy's like, I've never worked with anybody that had so many funny, weird interactions. It's like, that's just what I get. Like 9 times out of 10, that's what I get. I usually get women and children that speak to me the most, and I usually get people that are just like goofing around. I don't get like the get out, I hate you, and all this swearing. I never get that stuff. So I think you really, you get what you're looking for. So it's important to go in there with the right mindset, and just stay away from the gloom and doom BS. There's so many people out there like, oh, the spirits are in pain and they're trapped. And shut the hell up. It's so frigging annoying. You have no idea. It's like, they put me in like a situation sometimes, and like the local like Susie psychic's there, and all the spirits are in pain, and they're all trapped, and they all need her to help them. I think it's a hero complex thing. I really do. I've got some friends that are psychics and mediums that are very talented, and they do great work for sure. But a lot of ones they come across are just spirits that are passing through. They're just popping in to say hi or hello. And it's not everybody's trapped. It's not everybody's in pain. So I would just not pay attention to a lot of that stuff. But then again, that's just me. Everybody can do things the way they want to do. It's just I don't subscribe to that theory because that hasn't been my experience. The girl on top looks like she's going to pee herself. She's laughing so hard. Either I did something wrong or right. I'm not sure.
Because you have no idea what just happened behind the screen.
Oh.
What happened?
Nothing.
Kids camp. That's what's happening, Jody.
I know, it's supposed to be kids camp. Oh, yes. It's going to be one of them days, Dustin.
What?
Yeah, that's what they're all one of those days. That's the magic of life.
Are you going to Gettysburg for the bash?
I am. Yeah, I'm just there the one day on Saturday, so that'll be a nice time.
Tell them what you're doing.
Pam and everybody over there, they put that together really nice. It's a great benefit for a lot of good people, so I'm always happy to do. I try to do at least 2 charity events a year, one for animals and one for the veterans. So.
Oh.
We have a table,
Oh, do you?
and we're in charge of the kids zone.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
So you can
That's
get
good. Are
your
you
face
gonna be
painted.
there both days?
Yeah, they'll be there for the both days, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice event. Anybody, any of you guys gone before?
Yeah, we've been there.
Yeah, I like it there. It's nice. Gettysburg is always such a cool place anyway.
Tell them where you're going
So
tomorrow.
it's always good to get down there and see
Yeah,
what's
where are you going
on.
tomorrow?
And,
Tell them where you're going
I got
all
a lot
week.
of stuff coming up. Very busy on the road all the time. So I do this during the weekend, and on the weekends I'm on the road doing that stuff. So I don't sleep a heck of a lot, but I get some things done.
Tell them where you're going tomorrow.
Yeah, tell them what you're doing all week.
We're going to Gettysburg tomorrow
So what are you going for? Just to hang out?
to investigate.
We go to
Yeah.
the Her
Do you know where
Ridge,
you're going?
the Her Ridge Inn,
The Hurridge Inn,
Okay,
and
nice.
the Lookout.
House.
Yeah.
Sax Bridge, I think, for Florida.
Well, we go to the battlefields and the Sax
Yeah,
Bridge and
just
all.
all the battlefields.
Yeah, I like in the battlefields. I think it's Little Round Top is my favorite place to go there. The energy there is just really, really cool. And there was another place. I don't think it's in use anymore, but there was a hotel. I think it was called the General Lee Residence or the General Lee Inn or whatever. And they had this 2-floor like suite, like a private like honeymoon suite or whatever. And I went there to do an investigation, and I had one of the ghost app things on. It was the Phasma box is my favorite one I like to use. And it was quiet, not much was coming through, and all of a sudden it just kept saying Bob, Bob, Bob. And I said, what the hell's going on with this thing? Just keep saying the name over and over. And the next morning when I went to check out, there was a lady at the front desk who likes this kind of stuff, and she was asking me how the event was. I told her, so I don't know, I just got this one spirit, just kept saying his name. She's like, oh yeah, that's Bob, he's always in there. She's like, this is the weirdest dang thing, I've never come across anything quite like him, but he's very proud of who he is, I guess. But yeah, you never know what you're going to come across in these places, but it's cool when you get other people that kind of verify like the same activity, that they've had the same thing happen, you know?
Where are you going on Tuesday? Or Wednesday, rather? Selma?
We go to the Selma Mansion on Wednesday.
Oh, really? Oh, nice. You guys got like a week packed full of stuff, huh?
And Penhurst?
And Penhurst.
Yeah. Penhurst is awesome. I love Penhurst. It's one of the best places.
Oh, yeah.
Have anybody been there before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice. That's great. Yeah,
And then-
Penhurst is good. They have a lot of shadow activity and stuff there.
Do you have any
Really?
advice for us for Penhurst?
Let's see. I want to say it was, trying to remember, I had something happen there. I know it was on the top floor, but I can't remember where it was. Sometimes I mark places, like if I remember something specifically. But I know Penhurst is overall a pretty active place, but I remember something happening on the top floor with a shadow. I just can't remember where it was. But I just kind of feel like in any of the places, I think a lot of times people rush in and they just want to start like setting up equipment and pointing cameras and recording this, recording that, and asking all these questions. I really feel like the best thing to do is just kind of sit down for like a good 15 minutes and just be quiet and become acclimated to your environment. Like just get used to the natural sounds of the building and what's going on around you and just observe what's going on. Like it's great to try to capture this stuff. It's great to try to record these things. And it's a lot of fun, but I'm kind of at the point, you know, of doing, I mean, I've been doing this since I was 15, so I have over 25 years doing this. I don't need to record anything to prove it to anybody else, I just like to witness it for myself. It's like, yeah, if you're sitting there and you've got your camera up and you're staring at your camera and you see something, you can say you recorded it, but I kind of feel like you can't say you really witnessed it, or you were a part of it. And I feel like overall, I think those are the things that are the most important. Having that interaction with the other side, knowing that the spirit world is real and it's that close to where we are. I think that's much better, you know. And like, yeah, for TV, they want you to have proof and they want you to have evidence and you have to show the clients things. Like, I get that part of it. But I really feel for me on a personal level, it's just more exciting to actually see it, witness it for myself, and to listen to it happen, rather than just be staring at a screen all day, you know. If you want to set the equipment, set it up and let us do a job, but you don't have to sit there and monitor it like night and day the entire time.
Where else he is going? Going to Ali's camp? Muhammad Ali's,
What's that?
they're going to Muhammad Ali's camp
Oh yeah?
and
That's cool.
to Chambersburg also.
Nice.
So they got
Very
a full week.
Yeah, that's grand. Who are you talking to next?
Scott Greenwald.
Well, I hope he's wearing clothes.
So do we.
Yeah, Scott's...
Yeah, we love
the boxers and briefs question to Scott.
Scott.
Yeah.
What was Scott's advice the last time we talked to him?
Don't do drugs and don't knock on doors.
I don't think we got
Those are Scott's words of
anything.
advice?
Yeah, we didn't get anything paranormal out of him.
That sounds about right. Sure.
That's why we made him our last talker.
But you never know how it's going to go with him. So
No.
That's probably your safest bet.
It could go
He's a
anyway.
great guy, though. He's got a great heart. He's very kind.
Yeah.
Nice person.
We loved Scott. Any other questions before Dustin leaves?
You said that you were offered a bunch of options for like doing a TV show, but it wasn't like the type of show that you wanted to do because it focused on the negatives and stuff. If you could like
Yeah.
do your own show and shape it to however like you wanted it to be, how would you like? What would you make it?
I just wanted to think that I think represent the spiritual world in a more even keel and balanced way. You know, I don't know if it has to always be client oriented. For me, like, you know, I get a lot of friends on a lot of the different shows, so I enjoy watching them just to support them and everything. But my favorite show is watching a haunting. Like, I like the recreation shows still, and that's kind of what I grew up watching. I like to hear the ghost story, you know. So I'd like to see a show maybe that showed a little bit of the story, and then just had people kind of investigate in a balanced way. That's one thing I did like about being with Ghost Hunters and GHI. Like, our evidence, I always felt, as you know, I always speak for my own when I recorded. Outside of getting knocked over when I was in Luck Castle, I get knocked to the ground in Ireland. Outside of that one time, there's really nothing that was, I thought, over the top crazy evidence. You know, there was a couple of interesting pictures. There was some really cool EVPs, some disembodied voices, but there wasn't anything that was like, oh my god, like, you know, like nothing catches on fire, demons aren't possessing people. It's a little bit more balanced and I think honest. I'd also like to see something just more of a positive aspect to it. You know, everyone always focuses on the demonic stuff, but the angelic is just as real, and it's out there. It's just nobody looks for it. Nobody tries to interact with it as much. Everybody wants a bad boy. You know, I don't understand it, but that's what it is people are looking for. So I just feel like those kind of shows I think should have some room in the space. I think that there should be something out there to talk about that stuff. You know, but I think the problem with it is they've told me before. It gets too spiritual, it gets too religious. But I think that I come from an understanding that all religions and all of these things are really just all one. You know, there's different prophets that speak different languages with different skin colors for different people of different lands. But I think that love is what's most important, and being accepting and loving of all. And I think that if we look at spirituality that way, we should be able to talk about, you know, the positive sides of the spiritual realm and what religions those may tie into. Having traveled the world, I talked to different people that had different religious beliefs every country we went to. So it was important to understand that stuff. But that just gets all omitted from these shows because they don't want to talk about religion at all. They're just, demons are universal, so we'll just roll with that.
Well, I think that's the end of your time.
Well, that leaves me time to get a sandwich before I have to get back in surgery, so that works out perfect.
Well, can you do me a favor and say who you're going to call?
Look at that. It's nothing to do with me.
Sure it does. We're going to put you on our video.
Oh, okay. I can do that for you if that's you like.
Yeah.
All right. Ready? In the 3 and the 2 and 1. Who are you going to call?
There you go.
That was